with the dog. He's very clean. He's also really tired, which I'm like, so we don't have any freaking dogs touring around and being obnoxious and bad. And talk a little bit about the other topics I wanted to hit today on my live. So just found out that Jay lost his new store at T Public, and the uh, the instigators have gone after Ryan Cannell and took down his store. Now, nothing that these guys put up are bad. Okay. Oh, if you could please hit the like button, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks. This is just malicious, unwarranted internet bullying, cyberbullying, targeting people because they don't like a movie. But I've why are they doing that? What are the reasons? Well, the most obvious one is they don't like hey, Mad Piranha, they don't like the fact that we don't like The Last Jedi. Okay? That, we think Ryan Johnson is a piece of excrement. That J.J. Abrams is a terrible director and overhyped. That Disney did a disservice to Star Wars in general and the OT in particular. They haven't even admitted there was prequels, for Christ's sakes. And prequel fans, be glad, because if they had their way, I think if the story group had their way, Anakin would be a black transvestite, cross-dressing, non-binary squid or some shit. I mean, the problem that we're going to face as it becomes more and more apparent that there's something going on, despite, Script Doctor just said on Midnight's Edge that, well, he hadn't heard anything from his friends in that area. Well, you could take it to one of two ways. Either he's never asked them and they've never offered the information, or he doesn't want to talk about it because it'll out them. Okay, there's, a lot of people are holding back information they know right now. And I've said this before, I'll say this again. You have to look at this and think it is paramount that your sources are protected. Now, I remember I know, Trayla, and that's I'll talk about that. I remember back in 2018 when the shit started to get real, and we started hearing rumors that they were in. Craig Johnson had a lot to say on this because he's got a friend inside Lucasfilm. I happen to think I know who she is. I'm not gonna say who, but awesome, Senator Dave. I gotta do that when I'm done here. But it's very interesting the different feelings I have. A lot of people had, Teespring stores, and we were being left alone. The only people that were getting targeted were people that were lashing out, like me, at Raylo. I actually ended up losing a Twitter account that I had for years. So I had been back and forth on Twitter, God, a long time before 2015. And well, it was fun. There was garbage going on then. You get perverts showing up. Radical LGBTQ trolls would post filthy pictures to you. It is, Twitter was like that, but they traded them in for Raylo. And, they don't seem to mind the perverted pictures that showed up on Twitter, of Ray, in bondage situations and shit like that. And it's just, but we were we anti-Raylos, very loud group of us, were targeted badly by the Raylos. And once TLJ came out, and people started attacking and talking about the stupidity of the SJW woke crap in TLJ, it was really, it really started coming to a head. I remember an argument between Abu Nas. He and I had been friends for not very long. He had just started out his channel, and I was kind of, I was showing up, talking to him and coaching him a little bit, because my channel was still new. Okay, started my channel before TLJ came out. And if you watch those early videos, you'll see how much hope we had that TLJ would fix up what TFA broke, and it didn't do any of that. I mean, it was like, what the fuck is this? And this stuff, at least on Twitter, and then it migrated to YouTube. Geeks and Gamers started growing. Ethan Van Sciver started getting into it. You know, a lot of these channels that are huge now were small, but because everybody seemed to go, that was a bad movie. And they were places for like-minded individuals to congregate. That's, you know, and that's, and we were attacked, we were targeted, but not in the way we have been now. The Twitter mob and really the SJWs at Lucasfilm, I'm going to say this is all originating inside, are very keen to keep us silent and to go after us. We're going to be blamed for this. That's why they went after Jay of all people. I mean, he's sweeter than my dog. I mean, he's just a puppy dog. He raises money to help the unfortunate out there. And, those shirts that he was selling, all the money was going to charity. Wow. Horror of horrors. Must silence him. Why? Because A, he's connected to Gina. B, he, I'm going to say this right now. That picture of Iger, again, in that shirt, that was a signal. That was a signal. So I don't know what it was signaling, but she wasn't doing it to poke the bear. Gina's not stupid. Okay. So yeah, and they go after Ryan Cannell. Ryan Cannell's a little more passionate, a lot more negative than a lot of other people. He's got a big channel, and they shut down his store. There's no reason for it. He wasn't, it was just RK Outpost t-shirts. There's nothing hateful on them. But the email he got said it was hate merchandise or whatever. I'm paraphrasing, that was it. You have to look at what people do, not what they say. I always say that and always will. We have not heard squat at all from Disney. They are now, Lucasfilm is now promoting the Baked Republic on Disney Books Facebook page. I haven't seen if they've tweeted anything out today, but that whole silence for it was 2 weeks. They came back on the 14th, and that's 14 days, it's 2 weeks, is everything. All right. When people say, well, I don't think she's going to go till she's good and ready, they're not thinking about it. They don't care about it. Or, they really honestly believe the bullshit. You know, it's really interesting how you can have someone out there and it's obvious what's going on and they don't see it. They don't, they're not trained to look for it. Okay. I'm not trained to look for it either. I train myself. Okay. This is all now a political game. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, they really should. But, as long as they're, doing what they're doing and there isn't any movement there isn't any legit sources saying that Kennedy's out, they're going to get bombarded with fire Kathleen Kennedy until she's gone. That's it. That's it. Okay. I can't really explain how significant her name is when it comes to visceral hatred in the fandom. I'm sure I know she hates the fans, but I'm sure she was shocked that her Oscar video got pilloried like it did by normal people. Probably MMA fans showed up and did that. Oh, Cameron, you're right. Hey, Cameron's on there. Hi, buddy. How are you? Good to see you in the chat. You just gotta be patient and get your rhino skin armor on, because they're coming after all of us. All right. And trust me, I've been attacked by them before. Okay. I've lost Twitter accounts. I have had them try a trolling expedition on this channel, and I've chased them out. You gotta fight back. You can't just sit there and go, oh, it was poor me. Oh, poor me. No, fight back. They're cry bullies. The girls that put Rewriting Ripley together are cry bullies. Okay. And they're just exactly like Pablo, his wife, and everything else. Again, if you guys were here before, I had to go get the dog. It was very interesting going on to Twitter and seeing that Matt Martin himself had not tweeted since Friday. Okay, that Chrissy Hidalgo was tweeting about food or some Hey Boone, just some asinine whatever like she usually does. My guess is, if Doomcock is right, that they all had to troop up and say, we use Twitter, we use Facebook, we're on, we look at YouTube, whatever. If Parler had an app, I'm sure some of them were on Parler just to troll people there. It would be really interesting to go and see. This is where I kind of wish Pablo was just dumb enough not to hide behind the Twitter, the security. Because I would really like to see if he's tweeting anything out today. That would be the indication, because I'm sorry. I think he's the instigator of all of this. Okay. That is my feeling. I'm using circumstantial evidence, but there's enough there with smoke rising, like the car fire we saw yesterday, to make me think, yeah, there's shit going down with him. He's the one he's the one behind it. It didn't shock me at all, not even a little bit, to hear that he not only gave Gina shit about her sister getting COVID, but when she chewed him a new ass, he went and cried to Queen Kathy. He's a crybaby. That's what he does. Now, here's the thing I find interesting, and this is the conundrum for everybody. While we're getting ready to, waiting for the onslaught, Is she unaware of what he was doing? Or did she pet him on the head and say, go for it? Because here's the deal. If she is not the helicopter mom, but an absent mom, she's incompetent. If she encouraged rewriting Ripley, if she encouraged Pablo's behavior in any way, shape, or form, she's not only incompetent, she's a horrible person. Okay. Either way, it's bad for her and anybody that she was protecting. It's very interesting to me watching all this because that Reddit leak really summed up what I think. I gave you guys two options, what I think may happen. Either she'll go, then they'll go, or they'll be fired, and then she'll leave on a float. Okay? And honestly, after that, yeah, that's exactly where we are. Cameron's right. And I honestly think that there's going to be cuts before she goes because they are expendable. They are just pawns. Okay, at this point, she's not going to sit there and allow their bad judgment and their bad behavior to hurt her reputation. I love you, JJ. I love everybody. I don't hate men. La 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 la. You know, all that shit. Trying to make friends with everybody again. Trying to reestablish her connections. That's what's happening. And, you know, I could see her saying, okay, then go and start investigating where this came from. You know, I mean, she could be involved, but if it's done right, she'll never be implicated. And the reason is this: she would protect herself and make sure these little stooges of hers got crushed because they don't matter. Because they don't matter at all. Okay? These are the things we have to remember. And while they are lashing out, and I'm going to say this, we wake up in the morning, be it tomorrow morning, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it gets to be about this time of the day, and news breaks out, you know, Hollywood Reporter or Variety saying Lucasfilm laid off Pablo Hidalgo, Matt Martin, and a bunch of other people. This shit's going to it's going to hit the fan. It is going to hit the fan. We might be, hey, Pocket, we might be partying like rock stars, but you better get ready and you better have your ammo where you can reach it. Because, A, they'll be under NDAs. They can't, which publicly they can't say anything. But that doesn't mean they won't use proxies, that they wouldn't go into troll mode and harass and bother people. All right, they wouldn't attack, you know, Geeks and Gamers t-shirt store or, you know, try to have Ethan's channel pulled down or whatever, you know, clownfish and, you know what I'm saying? But Kennedy, even though we know she was in it up to her neck, either through incompetent leadership and ignorance or, you know, unsaid, you know, orders, go and do this, okay? She'll leave after, and it'll be really interesting to watch because it's going to be fake. It's going to be phony, even if she leaves before they're gone. You know, you know, even if she's gone before, it'll be, we'll all know in our hearts that she's gone because she was a failure, right? And it's not because she's a woman, it's because she couldn't do her job, right? She couldn't do her job. And that is ultimately the problem here. You know, I have known plenty of women in high positions of power. You know, Secretary of Agriculture Ann Veneman, several congressional leaders. I'm really good friends with our congressman's chief of staff. Okay, these girls know what the hell they're doing, and they're ball breakers. Okay, Kennedy might think she's a ball breaker, and she might think all these other things, but she's not a good leader. You know, she's not a good leader. But I don't know what I think about her getting I mean, when that leak said something about her either leaving or getting a promotion. To what? What could she? I mean, here's the thing: if you're an investor and you're talking with Chapek and you've got the board, and Iger's sitting there, and they said, "Well, we're thinking about bringing Kathy onto the board." What? What? Did you see what she did with Lucasfilm? Has everybody lost their minds? You know, these are the things that would go through my mind. I don't see how. Now, she could. There's no reason why we shouldn't think that. But there's also plenty of reasons to go, I need a judge's ruling on that. What I think is going to happen is she's going to hang around as a producer so they can get Indy 5 done. But, and that's going to be her swan song. All right. But I think that it will be announced that she no longer runs Lucasfilm. And I don't think she is running Lucasfilm. I really can't wait for, good morning, Anton. I really can't wait for Doomcock's next video. Because I don't, you know, these are the things you got to ask. What would be the point of her failing to run Lucasfilm in the proper manner? I mean, to the point where I'd like to see how many different ways she violated her contract. You know, you know, I can't see how she could end up getting promoted. Maybe to a ceremonial stop. Maybe she could be, you know, the witch in Sleeping Beauty, or the witch in the witch in Sleeping Beauty, or in Snow White. You know, but I don't see it. And when I look at what Frank Marshall's doing, he's got so much on the plate right now that, you know, it would probably do her good to help her husband out. You know, I'll give it a few more weeks. Now, I predicted by May, maybe by May the 4th. And I still stick to that because just the way, you know, you got to look at how people are reacting right now. It's just really interesting. And my tea leaf reading is that Chapek has already talked to her. Okay, that he you know, basically said, we can't do this anymore. I can't. It was either me or you. Okay, it's business. You know it. I'm sorry. And because here's the deal, she not only makes Lucasfilm look bad, she makes Disney look bad. You can't go to a Disney page on Facebook and not see Fire Kathleen Kennedy or Gina Carano did nothing wrong. You can't. On Disney, not just Lucasfilm and not just Star Wars, Disney. And, you know, you have to take into consideration just the backlash. Then, the investors, because I've said this before, I'll say this again. If mom and pop investor George calls in and says, when you're firing Kathleen Kennedy, I guarantee you, the guys from BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard were on the phone going, what the hell is going on? And a lot of people, it's really weird. A lot of people who are really entrenched in fandom and can't quite divorce themselves enough to kind of stand back and look at the objective picture. Don't realize the power that the investors have. All right. The investors are the most important people in this little puzzle. If you piss them off, screw up their bottom line, they're going to come after you. I'm not kidding. This isn't me just putting this out there. They will come after you. And they will want answers. Okay. You know, we know for a fact that Disney's taken taxpayer money that they borrowed and inflated their own stock because they're terrified of a takeover. Okay. If they ever gotten taken over, a lot of things would be sold off to pay for the takeover. Fox, Marvel, maybe, but I doubt it. A lot of different pieces. It would be really interesting to me to know exactly what the parameters are. Yeah, you're right, Cameron. That's exactly right. It's not how you feel, okay? It's when you're talking about money. And the reason why I started looking at the money is like something has to give. Because you're looking at merchandise sales, you're looking at, you know, all this brand new merch showing up in alleys for crying out loud. It's like, why? And you suddenly realize that nobody wants it. No one wants it from alleys. Okay. You suddenly realize just how significant the money really is. And how significant the investors' view of things are. Ray doesn't sell product. Ray doesn't sell tickets. Kyle Ron doesn't sell tickets. I mean, the moment the Raylos saw him croak, that was it. That was it. They weren't going to go back to that movie again. All right. You know, they don't sell merchandise. None of them do. And when you start thinking about the money, Valiant Renegade talks about this a lot, being left on the table over, you know, woke garbage and poor behavior by supposed professional, you know, executives. It boggles the mind. And you know, and I'm going to say this. The investors have probably been going, what in the hell is going on over there for a while. Okay. And I really don't, you know, it's really interesting looking at what people are saying that aren't really, you know, they're not close enough to the subject to really study it, and they just say stuff. You know, I'm going to say this right now. Kathleen Kennedy is not the woman she was when she took over Lucasfilm. She's not the woman she was when TFA took off. Okay, she's not. She's literally a hollow husk of herself. Okay, don't let anybody tell you that she's a big, bad, scary Kathy Kennedy anymore. I can't see it. I don't see that. And the reason simply is I find it hard to believe that people in Hollywood take her seriously anymore. I mean, you know, Cameron, you yourself said you have friends who despise her for what she did for what she did to Colin Trevorrow. You know, people don't forget that. People don't forget that. And that's the thing that people need to understand, is that when you're talking about this kind of thing, is that, you know, when you're talking about this kind of thing, is that you're only as successful as your last success. Okay? And hey, how's Artrides? And she isn't. I mean, look at, the rise of Skywalker. Look at, the High Republic. Are you kidding me? I mean, and when people say, well, she's Kathleen Kennedy, she's really powerful, it's like, you're not thinking. And I quit. I remember the day. It was after COVID hit, and I said, or no, it was before COVID hit, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start looking at their stock. And I started studying, and then I started seeing that they were borrowing money. They even borrowed money from the Canadian government. And it became obvious that they were trying to keep their stock inflated because they didn't want to get taken over. I was watching that and going, the place where it's going to start to get real and it's going to hit is going to be when the investors get involved. And there was that rumor last year, or not was it earlier this winter? Doomcock put it out there that Kennedy was called to the carpet by the investors. I believe that, and honestly, now I'm going to say this. I think she's just dumb enough to think that, getting her, being told you can't do this, you can't do that anymore. I don't think she took it seriously. I don't think she took anything seriously, even if Iger got involved and told her, you need to stop. And when she went after Gina and allowed, either by ignorance or quiet command, Pablo and the Flying Monkeys to go after Gina on Twitter, to me, then it looks like Mean Girls. It looks like a mean high school student. You can't be part of us. You can't sit at our table. You're that kind of shit. And if that's the case, then she's a 67-year-old high school cheerleader, for Christ's sakes. She has a maturity. My dog is more mature than she is. Think about it. Okay? This is not good for them. And she obviously didn't take Uncle Bob Chapek or Iger seriously. And if you guys remember what I said, she's 67. Yeah, she's all, she should have retired 2 years ago, for crying out loud. Remember what I said when Gina posted that picture of Bob Iger in the t-shirt? Gina wants to be an actress. She wants to make movies. Why would she poke the bear? All right. Now maybe she did. Maybe she felt like she didn't have anything to lose. Gina's a lot smarter than that. This is what I think happened. And I said this before, I'll say it again for people who missed it. Gina did that to thank Bob Iger for standing up for her. All right? That was a signal. Okay? Because Iger knows they can't afford this anymore. And I'm going to say this: Kathy Kennedy's pride and her humility, or her pride and her narcissism pales in comparison to that of Bob Iger. Bob Iger had once delusions of running for president, which is never going to happen. And I thought, when I saw that picture, I was like, Gina, what did you do that for? And I started thinking about it. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. Because my theory is Gina's talking to John. My theory is in a few months, she'll be back. They're in pre-production for Mandalorian season 3 right now. They're filming Obi-Wan right now. They're in post-production with Boba Fett. Yeah, Trencher, a lot of people. If you look at the history of Hollywood, a lot of those guys were really sort of, you wonder how they got there. I mean, for every, Irving Thalberg, there was a Louis B. Mayer. And while Mayer was a good studio head, he wasn't a good person. Whereas Irving Thalberg was a genius. He was truly the first true movie producer. And it's just really interesting when you start looking at the history of that. Like Jack Warner, there's a reason why it's called Warner Brothers. Is because a group of brothers ran Warner Brothers. And Jack was the public face. Okay. You had David O. Selznick and all the rest of these guys. And, Iger, I think, looks at himself as being like one of them. But they were creative. They understood how to sell a movie. They understood the value of a movie star. The people in front of the camera. Those guys were what sold tickets. There's an old saying: if it doesn't play in Peoria, or will it play in Peoria? That's a big thing. You make a movie, and if it didn't do well in the smaller places, the movie was a failure. Okay, it's got to be something that everybody will want to go see. Now, then you have your niche genres within filmmaking: horror, science fiction, that kind of thing. And that's always going to have, some do reach out and bring in the general audience, Star Wars, Star Trek, and that kind of thing. But very rarely. And, the oldest thing, yeah, you're right. The oldest rule in Hollywood is, thank you, James, is give the fans what they want. It's not that difficult. Quit, catering to the lowest common denominator, the SJWs, the Chinese. First off, the Chinese are ripping you off. All right, first off, you're not getting a deal in their box office. Sure, they have like 1.3 billion people. Not all those people are going to see your movie. Not even a millitenth of that potential audience is going to see your movie. Okay? And if it doesn't do well there, why'd you even release it there? I mean, and that's the thing is I've talked to people who talk about the Chinese, that mythological box office that they all want. It's like, even if they do well, they get ripped off. The Chinese steal the movie, they put it out on the internet, they take more money than, instead of like even 50%, I would say, okay, fine. They're more like 60, okay? And then they take more money. They're just not, they're not pleasant or decent people to work with. I would rather, have a deal with Tony Soprano. At least you know what he's doing. You know what the rules are. Pretty cut and dried. Chinese don't have any. All right. The only rules are we school over. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it. Think about it. Okay, because that's what they do. That's what they do. So my thing is this, guys. What happened to Ryan Cannell and Drunk 3PO is wrong. There was absolutely no reason for it. It was done maliciously. Obviously, Teespring, T Public don't really think about what they're doing. They don't really look at the problem. They just bend the knee. And, again, if it's Kennedy's cronies at Lucasfilm, they're pissed. Okay, they're gonna, and if it's Raylo's, I gotta say something. You don't know who you're talking to on the internet. You can have a Raylo whose daddy runs Teespring. Okay, you can have a Raylo, harassing you, whose daddy is a high executive on Google. Okay, that's the bad thing about this. All right, they're gonna sit there and be crybabies and say we're victims, blah blah blah. What's the easiest thing to do? To shut them up? Just take down the store. No good reason, because none of the reasons are that they give make any sense. But there you go. That's what they do. And I've been I've been a target myself, and also the thing of to do is this: don't be a victim. Don't go on there. Woe is me. Don't. You come right back. You come right back. You come right back at them. That's all you can do. That's the only thing you can do. Okay? And the reason why is if you let them beat you down and you let it happen, they're going to keep doing it. And the only thing that they understand is, like every other bully, a black eye. Okay? Don't be a victim. But I tell you guys, we're all targets right now of cyberbullying, cyber stalking, cyber trolling, whatever, because they know the end is nigh. That's why they went after. That's why they went after Drunk. Okay, and either with Kathy's blessing or without. But my thing is, I'm really, really kind of, I don't. I think that she went after Gina. Okay, I think that she deliberately went after Gina. I think she's just stupid enough to think she could do it. Remember the Deadline Hollywood the Deadline Hollywood story, saying it went above Favreau, but it didn't go into Disney. No, we're not getting a Rose Tico series. I saw that. This is the problem. And there are people out there that would jump and think it was too funny, or jump and think that's real. It's like the Ryan Johnson thing with that Raylo. If he talked to Dave Filoni, Dave was probably saying, okay, sure, I'll talk to John. And John probably said, no, I'm not going to hire him to do anything. He's not, he's not a director I want to deal with. The fans hate him. Even if he was doing point and shoot, just the name alone would piss everybody off. So there, Okay, and again, he's talking to that Raylo. No one trolls Raylos harder than their biggest hero, Ryan Johnson. Okay? No one. And he turns around when cameras are off and he laughs their asses off he laughs his ass off at them. Okay? That's exactly what was going on there. All right? That's exactly what was going on there. When people start taking it seriously, I'm like, oh my God. Because they know we're going to talk about it. That's why she asked him the question. I think Disney is like, we want to pretend like he doesn't exist anymore. Oh, he's not going to. God, oh man. This last word I'm going to say on this. He was trolling that Raylo. He basically said nothing. He basically said, I don't have any time anyway because I'm working on other projects. Okay? He's not doing a trilogy. He's not doing Mandalorian. He's not doing any of it. Okay? This is, he's trolling that poor girl. That poor girl who should probably be in the hospital under doctor supervision. All right? I'd have more to say about the Raylos, but I want to get my workout in. So, guys, I'll talk to y'all later. I gotta go lift. Yeah, let's put it this way, he doesn't help the cause. And what I mean by that is his own cause. So anyway, I gotta go. I would too. I think Robert Rodriguez is a great director. Anyway, I gotta go. And you guys be good. Maze, Dave Pensack, thanks for showing up, my wrenches. Bye guys, see you later. Cameron, Auf Wiedersehen. See you around the galaxy. If something doesn't happen. See ya.